How's it going, guys? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be taking a look at a unique addition to the roguelike genre, Blazblue Entropy Effect. This action roguelike blends elements from the long-standing Blazblue fighting games and action platformer roguelikes, creating a very unique game in both aesthetics and mechanics. The game is being developed by 91 Act and launched into early access in August of 2023, and will see a full release in just a couple of weeks on January 31st. As always, I have everything broken up into chapters for you guys. There are a few things that I personally didn't enjoy about the game, however there are a ton of things that it does very well, and we will go over everything in as much detail as we can. There's a lot to go through here, so let's get started. In Blazblue Entropy Effect, you will be playing as an Acer in a simulation designed by Sky Eyes to train you to resist and cleanse the corruption that is consuming the world. As you progress through the game, you will find several NPCs that each have their own functionalities and voice lines. The interactions with the NPCs provide a nice respite from your runs, and while the writing isn't anything that is going to blow you away, it is fairly serviceable. You'll make choices that can also impact the way that the story progresses, which is an interesting touch and wasn't something that I really expected. Like in a lot of these games, there isn't a lot of story for us to delve into, and that's okay, as most of us aren't playing roguelikes for their engaging storylines. It's always nice when a developer puts a bit of effort into explaining the setting and giving us a bit to do in between runs, but not make it too overbearing to the point of making it feel tedious. The visuals are something that this game definitely nails. Meanwhile, the audio can be a bit of a mixed bag for sure. The visual style is absolutely stunning. I wouldn't consider myself an anime fan, though there are some that I do enjoy. This game really pulls off that anime look and feel, in my opinion. The characters have been brought in from the existing Blazblue universe, and while I personally haven't played any of the Blazblue fighting games, I feel the characters fit the setting of this game very well. Each of the acts in the game have their own unique design and are very well crafted. The various rooms that you enter throughout a run remind you that it's all a simulation, which I thought was really well done and gives the game a very arcadey vibe. The different abilities have very clear visual effects, and each one also has a clear sound effect like you would expect out of a fighting game. Both of these things make the abilities incredibly satisfying to use. One thing that I did find a little irritating was the constant repetition of voice lines in combat. This is something that is very common in fighting games so that you have both a visual and auditory indication of what your opponent is going to do. I think they may have laid it on a little thick here, and it can be a little distracting when you're trying to listen for the different enemy sound effects. That being said, this is something that you do have the option to turn off, which I did end up doing, and I felt like it improved my experience with the game. The only other complaint I have about the audio in the game as it stands currently is that the game is only available with English subtitles, with the voice acting being all in Chinese, except the tutorial, which is available in English, and the combat lines, which are in Japanese for some reason. They are supposed to be adding full English support in the full release of the game, although there's no telling what kind of quality we're going to get, so we'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Now, the game and mechanics in Blazblue Entropy Effect are where it shines the most. The combat is snappy and intuitive, and if you've ever played a fighting game or action platformer, you're going to feel right at home. As you play a run, you'll have the ability to choose from two forms of upgrades: tactics, which you will earn by leveling up throughout the run, and will give you various passive effects from light spears that appear after casting your abilities, to poison effects on basic attacks, and many more. There are also potentials. These upgrades can fundamentally change the way that your character plays by giving them whole new combos and changing the way certain combos behave. For instance, with Noelle, I was able to find a potential that allowed her to shoot towards the ground 3 times with explosive shots, which gave me a lot of airtime. Or with Mai, I was able to find a potential that changed her tornado at the end of her basic attack combo and power-up attack into an attack that caused 2 tornadoes to swirl around you for a brief time and made her a multi-hit beast. This is just a couple of examples out of an endless sea of upgrades that will change your playstyle pretty dramatically and adds a lot of spice and variety to each run. Additionally, the different characters have vastly different playstyles. Take S and Hakumen for instance. S uses a large sword and is able to create an AoE ring that damages enemies for a short time. She is quite fast and agile and does very well against multiple targets. Hakumen, on the other hand, is a samurai that moves very slowly and has the ability to counter attacks and deal massive damage. Each one of these characters plays totally different, and that is largely due to the fact that they come from a fighting game, which I think lends itself quite well to the roguelike genre. One of the things that gives this game a decent amount of variety is the ability to equip legacy skills from other characters, giving an active ability and various passives based on previous runs with different characters. This gives the player a lot of agency over the start of their run, while still providing a bit of randomness through the other upgrade avenues. This is a very neat feature that is pretty fresh and unique. I know there are definitely other games that use similar systems, but I think 91 Act have nailed the implementation here. I really enjoy this system, and I hope to see more like it in the future. Each of your runs will present you with different choices for rooms. There are quite a few different options here, and something that I think the game does very well. These range from rooms that allow you to sacrifice some of your max HP for a choice out of various buffs, a slot machine room, and rooms that allow you to spend the currency that you earned during your runs. Mixed in are also rooms that allow you to rest and cleanse some of the corruption that you've accumulated throughout the run. The corruption can give you a variety of debuffs as well as buffs, and is one of the key mechanics in the game, as you are constantly trying to balance the amount of corruption you have. As you play through the game, you will also unlock an additional game mode called Mind Challenges. This challenge mode allows you to use the loadouts from previous runs to beat a specific challenge. These challenges will give you rewards such as prototype analyzers, which are used to unlock new characters, as well as the currency used for meta progression in the game. The challenges can be a little bland, and for the most part just consist of killing enemies or bosses, and it would be interesting to see different variations to help breathe a bit more life into this system, which is otherwise a bit tedious and unnecessary. Speaking of meta progression, let's dive a little deeper into that. As you play through runs, you will earn currency that you can spend at this lovely little robot, and unlock various passives that will make it easier for you to complete runs such as more HP mixtures, higher chance for more rare tactics, more maximum HP, and so on. This NPC can also give you prototype analyzers, which is mentioned in passing during dialogue and then isn't brought up again until you accomplish the task of picking new tactics throughout your runs. This is something that I do feel the game needed to highlight a little more to make it a bit more clear. I think simply adding the ability to click on a locked character and it telling you complete mind challenges or collect X new tactics to unlock would go a long way. The enemy and boss design is fairly good, but it does lack a bit of variety in the normal enemies. Learning the different attack patterns and how to use your kit to navigate different situations is fun and engaging. However, each run is going to look basically the same with limited layouts and a relatively small enemy pool for each area. I think having some more randomization to the enemy pool is definitely something that this game needs. Alternatively, more areas that appear in a random order as opposed to the set order that they appear in now could also solve this issue and keep the runs from feeling visually the same. As it stands, there are 2 potential bosses for each stage, and each one has a really good design that I've found fairly satisfying and challenging. At this point, I haven't actually fully completed a run, but I've come very close. I do feel like the later bosses have so much going on that it can be a little bit difficult to track what is happening on screen. This is exacerbated by the fact that the visual effects from your character are also very flashy and make for a pretty cluttered experience in certain situations. As far as run length goes, for me they lasted about 45 minutes or so depending on how quickly I was able to make decisions, and you are presented with quite a few choices throughout the run. I do feel like the fact that the game is so fast and fluid and the tactics don't really allow you to become super overpowered, the runs could actually afford to be shortened a bit. As it stands, the runs do tend to drag on, and I think that it can keep you from wanting to play multiple runs in a row. That being said, there is quite a bit of replayability to be had here, with all of the systems at play, the many different combinations of abilities, and 10 unlockable characters, each with their own unique playstyles. The only problem that I have with the replayability is the lack of game modes and the static stage order. I think this game would greatly benefit from a bit more randomization and more enemy variety like I mentioned earlier. Alright, as you can tell, I do really like Blazblue Entropy Effect, but there are some things that I think need some improvement. The game does a great job at blending the fighting game and roguelike genres and is fairly unique. That being said, it does lack some variety and the runs tend to be a bit long considering the pace of the game. I have personally enjoyed my time playing through the game and I still plan on trying to beat it and continuing to experiment with different builds. Hopefully with the full launch of the game, we will see some changes to help solve some of the issues that I've mentioned. If you've made it this far, I sincerely want to thank you so much for your time. I really hope that you found the video both informative and entertaining. If you did, I would be humbled if you would leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. If you'd like to join the Discord, then there is a link to that down in the description, as well as my Steam profile if you'd like to add me there. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.